This is number seven podcast.
Number 7 podcast.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Number 7 podcast channel. Ever feel like you're just drowning in information?
Oh, yeah, I know that feeling.
I mean, there are just so many books out there, and who actually has time to read them all?
Right.
What if I told you there are ways to unlock the secrets of speed reading and absorb knowledge faster than ever before?
Well, I mean, it sounds pretty amazing.
We're going to dive into that today.
Okay.
And trust me, this isn't about skimming or just glancing at pages.
No.
It's about understanding and retaining the core concepts,
Right.
just at a much faster pace.
Okay.
I used to think I was a pretty slow reader. I
Yeah.
was talking about 250 words per minute, like most people.
Mm-hmm.
But what if you could double or even triple that speed?
Wow.
Imagine how much more you could read and learn.
That would be incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely possible. But before we jump into the techniques,
Yeah.
let's just take a moment to understand the reading process itself. You know, think of it as a journey with distinct stages.
Okay, so what's the first stop on this reading road trip?
Well, first we have previewing,
Okay.
which is like getting a lay of the land
Yeah.
before you embark on a journey.
Right.
You'd look at a map, right?
Yeah.
It's the same with the book.
Okay.
You check out the table of contents,
Yeah.
chapter titles,
Yeah.
headings, anything that gives you a sense of the book's structure and main themes.
Okay.
This just helps you mentally prepare for what you're about to dive into.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like getting a sneak peek before the main attraction.
Right.
So what's next?
Next comes questioning,
Okay.
which is where you actively engage with the material before you even start reading.
Okay.
So ask yourself, what do I already know about this topic? What do I want to learn?
Yeah.
This turns reading from a passive activity into an active pursuit of knowledge.
I like that.
Yeah.
Setting an intention. It's like telling your brain, okay, we're about to learn something new. Get ready.
Exactly.
So after we've previewed and questioned,
Yeah,
then we finally get to the actual reading part.
exactly.
Right.
And that's where all those speed reading techniques
Uh-huh.
we'll discuss later come into play.
Right.
But before we get ahead of ourselves,
Yeah.
let's talk about what comes after the actual reading,
Okay.
summarizing.
Summarizing.
Yes.
Okay, so how does that fit into the process?
It's crucial for solidifying what you've learned.
Yeah.
Take the time to identify the key takeaways,
Mm-hmm.
the main points, maybe even jot down some notes.
Okay.
Think of it like creating a mental map of the book's most important information.
So we're previewing, questioning, reading, and then summarizing.
Yes.
What's the final destination on our reading journey?
Last but not least, we have reviewing.
Got it.
This is all about reinforcement.
Okay.
Go back to your notes, skim through key sections, and really solidify those concepts in your long-term memory.
It's like revisiting those amazing vacation photos
Right.
after you've returned home.
Yeah,
You're reliving the experience and making the memories last longer.
precisely.
Okay.
So these 5 stages, previewing, questioning, reading, summarizing, and reviewing, create a framework for a more intentional and productive reading experience.
I have to admit, I'm already starting to see how this could change the way I approach reading.
Yeah.
But before we get into the actual speed reading techniques, let's talk about something that often gets overlooked. Your reading environment.
Yes.
Okay.
Your environment can have a huge impact on both your reading speed and your ability to comprehend what you're reading.
Right.
It's like trying to work on a complicated puzzle
Yeah.
in a noisy, chaotic room. You're going to get distracted and frustrated.
Exactly. I'm a big believer in creating a cozy and distraction-free reading nook.
Yeah.
Good lighting is essential. Natural light is the best.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're reading at night, make sure you have a lamp that doesn't strain your eyes.
Right. And don't underestimate the power of a comfortable chair with good back support.
Yeah.
You don't want to be fidgeting and shifting around,
Right.
trying to get comfortable while you're trying to focus on the text.
No, for sure.
Right.
And of course, we can't forget about those pesky distractions,
Yeah.
our phones.
Exactly.
Definitely guilty of getting sidetracked by notifications.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Find a quiet space.
Right.
Maybe put on some calming music
Uh-huh.
or nature sounds if that helps you concentrate.
Yeah,
And put that phone on silent.
absolutely.
Oh, it's amazing how much of a difference those simple things can make.
Right.
Creating the right environment sets the stage for a successful and enjoyable reading experience.
I completely agree.
Okay, so we've set the stage with a comfortable environment
Mm-hmm.
and a good understanding of the reading process.
Right.
Now, let's finally get to the good stuff, the techniques that can help us read faster and more efficiently.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Let's start by tackling something called subvocalization. Have you ever noticed that little voice in your head that reads along with you?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
It's like I'm silently saying the words as I read them.
That's subvocalization.
Okay.
And while it's a natural part of reading for many people,
Yeah.
it can actually slow you down significantly.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
So how do we get rid of that little voice?
Well, there are a few techniques you can try.
Okay.
One is to use a pacer, like your finger or a pen,
Okay.
to guide your eyes across the page at a faster pace.
Gotcha.
This visual cue helps your eyes move faster,
Uh-huh.
forcing your brain to keep up.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's like training your eyes to lead the way.
Exactly. Another technique is to consciously try to absorb groups of words,
Okay.
or even entire lines, at a glance.
Okay.
This is where expanding your peripheral vision comes in.
Peripheral vision.
Yeah,
Like how I see things out of the corner of my eye.
exactly.
Okay.
Think of it like upgrading your eyes to a wider lens.
Hmm.
The more words you can take in with each glance,
Yeah.
the faster you'll read.
Okay, so how do we actually expand our peripheral vision?
Wow.
Do we need special glasses for that?
Not at all.
Okay.
There are some fun exercises you can try.
Nice.
One is to focus on a central point
Okay.
and try to identify the letters or words on the periphery
Yeah.
without directly looking at them. It's
Okay.
like training your eyes to see beyond their usual focus point.
So we're eliminating subvocalization
Yes.
and expanding our peripheral vision.
Right.
What other speed reading tricks do you have up your sleeve?
Next up is a technique called chunking. It's all about grouping words together into meaningful units.
Gotcha.
Instead of reading word by word,
Right.
you're training your brain to see phrases and sentences
Yeah.
as single units of information.
Okay.
Imagine reading a sentence like, "The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog."
Yeah.
Instead of seeing 9 individual words, you'd ideally see 3 chunks. The quick brown fox jumps over, and the lazy dog.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It's like learning to read in a whole new way.
Exactly.
Oh.
And chunking not only makes reading faster,
Mhm.
but also helps with comprehension.
Okay.
You're understanding the meaning of the text in larger chunks,
Right.
rather than getting bogged down by individual words.
This is all starting to click for me.
Good.
So we've got eliminating subvocalization,
Uh-huh.
expanding peripheral vision, and chunking.
Yes.
Any other techniques we should know about?
There are 2 more techniques that are often confused, but serve distinct purposes.
Okay.
Scanning and skimming.
Okay, break those down for me. What's the difference?
Scanning is all about finding specific information quickly.
Okay.
Imagine you're looking for a particular date
Yeah.
in a history book
Uh-huh.
or a specific recipe in a cookbook.
Right.
You're not reading every word.
Gotcha.
You're quickly moving your eyes across the page, looking for that specific piece of information.
Okay.
Keywords, headings, and subheadings are your best friends when scanning.
So scanning is like a targeted search mission.
Exactly.
What about skimming?
Skimming, on the other hand, is about getting the gist of a text
Okay.
without reading every detail.
Okay.
You might skim through a news article
Yeah.
to get the main points,
Right.
or through a chapter to get a sense of its overall argument.
Okay.
You're paying attention to topic sentences, key phrases, and concluding paragraphs.
Gotcha.
It's about capturing the essence of the text.
Got it.
Yeah.
Scanning is for specific details,
Uh-huh.
while skimming is for the big picture.
Exactly.
Okay.
Both are valuable tools when you need to process information quickly,
Right.
but it's important to know when to use each technique.
This is all so helpful.
Good.
I'm already starting to feel like I could tackle those towering piles of books
Yes.
with more confidence.
That's great to hear.
Yeah, this is great.
And we're just getting started. There's a whole other dimension to speed reading
Right.
that we'll explore next. Harnessing the power of your mind.
Ooh, that sounds intriguing.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, we'll take a quick break.
Okay.
Be sure to stick around for part 2 of this episode,
All right.
where we'll delve deeper into the mental aspects of speed reading
Mm-hmm.
and share some practical tips on how to make these techniques a part of your everyday reading routine.
Right.
And as always,
Yeah.
if you're enjoying this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Number 7 podcast channel for more fascinating deep dives into the world of knowledge.
Looking forward to it.
All right, we'll see you back here soon for part 2.
See you then. Welcome back to the Number 7 podcast. Before the break, we were talking about some pretty cool techniques to help you read faster.
Yeah, those were great.
But speed is only half the battle, right?
Totally. What good is reading a whole book in an hour?
Yeah.
if it just goes in one ear and out the other.
Exactly. So let's shift gears and talk about how to really make that knowledge stick.
Okay. One powerful technique is visualization.
Visualization.
Yes,
Like picturing things in my head.
precisely. As you read,
Yeah.
try to create mental images of the concepts and ideas being presented.
Okay.
Imagine you're reading a book about history.
Uh-huh.
Instead of just reading about a battle, try to visualize the scene, the soldiers, the weapons, the landscape. The more vivid and detailed your mental images,
Yeah.
the more likely you are to remember the information.
That's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
I can definitely see how that would make the information more memorable. It's like turning a boring textbook into an action-packed movie.
Exactly. Another helpful technique is to connect new information
Okay.
to what you already know.
Right.
This is about making links
Yeah.
between new concepts
Okay.
and existing knowledge in your mental framework.
Gotcha.
For example, if you're reading about a scientific principle,
Uh-huh.
that reminds you of a concept you learned in a different class.
Okay.
Make that connection consciously.
It's like building a bridge between different islands of knowledge in your mind.
I like that.
Yeah.
The more connections you make,
Right.
the stronger your overall understanding becomes.
Precisely. And don't underestimate the power of repetition.
Okay.
Reviewing material regularly helps move information from your short-term memory to your long-term memory.
So it's like practice makes perfect.
Think of it like strengthening a muscle.
Right.
The more you use it,
Yeah.
the stronger it gets.
Makes sense.
It's the same with memory.
So we're visualizing, making connections, and repeating.
Yes.
Any other tips for making sure that knowledge really sinks in?
There's one more technique that can be surprisingly effective:
Yeah.
teaching what you've learned to someone else.
Okay.
Even if you're just explaining a concept to an imaginary audience,
Right.
the act of articulating the information
Yeah.
forces you to process it more deeply
Okay.
and helps solidify it in your memory.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to start giving lectures to my dog.
Well, maybe start with your houseplants.
Okay, good point.
They're less likely to run away.
Okay, so we've covered visualization, making connections, repetition, and teaching.
Yes.
Are there any other tools or techniques that can help us become more effective learners?
Have you ever heard of mind mapping?
Mind mapping.
Yeah.
I've heard of that, but I've never really tried it.
Oh, okay.
Tell me more.
It's a visual way to organize information
Okay.
using a combination of words, images, and colors.
Right.
It's a great way to break down complex topics and see the relationships between different ideas.
Interesting.
Imagine a central idea at the heart of your mind map.
Okay.
From that central idea,
Yeah.
you branch out with related concepts,
Mhm.
using keywords, images, and different colors to make it visually engaging.
So it's kind of like creating a web.
It's a bit like creating a tree of knowledge,
Okay.
with the central idea as the trunk and the branches representing different aspects of the topic.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
It's much more engaging than just taking linear notes.
Exactly. And it's a great way to stimulate both the left and right sides of your brain,
Okay.
using both logical and creative thinking.
Okay. I'm definitely going to have to give mind mapping a try.
I think you should.
Now, before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I think it's important to touch on something that's often overlooked. Setting the right goals.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Before you even open a book,
Yeah.
ask yourself, why am I reading this? What do I hope to gain from it?
Right.
Having a clear purpose in mind
Yeah.
keeps you focused and motivated.
That's so true. It's easy to get lost in the sea of information if you don't have a clear sense of direction.
Exactly.
And remember, reading should be enjoyable.
Oh, absolutely.
Choose books that genuinely interest you.
Yes.
Don't force yourself to read something just because you think you should.
Right.
Life's too short for boring books.
I agree.
But even if it's a book you're genuinely excited about,
Uh-huh.
sometimes life just gets in the way. We're all busy, and finding time to read can be a challenge.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why it's crucial to incorporate these speed reading and knowledge absorption techniques into your routine.
Okay.
Not only can they help you read faster,
Right.
but they can also make reading more engaging and effective,
Gotcha.
so you get the most out of the time you do have.
That's such an important point. It's not just about speed. It's about making the most of every reading session.
Exactly.
And remember, these techniques are like any other skill they take. Practice.
Of course.
Don't get discouraged if you don't see results immediately.
Right.
The more you practice,
Yeah.
the better you'll become at absorbing information quickly and efficiently.
You know, we've talked a lot about techniques,
Yeah.
but let's not forget about the importance of taking care of ourselves.
Right. Getting enough sleep, eating healthy, and exercising are all important for focus.
That's right. Make sure you're getting enough sleep, eating a healthy diet,
Yeah,
and exercising regularly.
for sure.
All of these things impact your cognitive function,
Right.
including your ability to focus and retain information.
It's like we always say,
Yeah,
a healthy body supports a healthy mind.
I like that one.
Now, I think we're ready to share a few additional resources and tools that you can explore to further enhance your reading journey.
Okay.
What are some of your favorites?
One classic book that many speed readers swear by is How to Read a Book by Mortimer Adler.
Okay.
It's a deep dive into the art of reading,
Okay.
covering everything from different reading techniques to how to analyze and interpret texts.
That's a great recommendation.
Yeah,
It's definitely on my reading list.
good.
What about online resources?
There's a fantastic website called Spreeder.com.
Spreeder.com. Okay.
It's a free online tool that helps you train your eyes to read faster.
Okay.
By presenting text in a way that encourages you to reduce subvocalization
Right.
and expand your peripheral vision.
That sounds like a fun way to practice.
Yeah.
Are there any other online resources you'd recommend?
If you're looking for a more comprehensive program, there are a number of online courses and workshops dedicated to speed reading and effective learning techniques.
Gotcha.
A quick Google search will reveal a wealth of options.
Fantastic.
Uh,
We'll be sure to include links to those resources in the show notes.
Sounds good.
Now, before we wrap up,
Mm-hmm.
let's revisit that idea of reading a book an hour.
Okay.
Is it truly possible?
Well, it depends on several factors,
Yeah.
including the length and complexity of the book,
Right.
your current reading speed, and how familiar you are with the subject matter.
Okay.
For a short, straightforward book on a topic you already know something about,
Yeah.
it might be possible to get through it in an hour using speed reading techniques.
Okay.
But for a longer, more complex book,
Yeah.
it's unlikely that you'll be able to fully grasp and retain all the information in just an hour.
So while reading a book an hour might be a bit of an ambitious goal for most of us,
Right.
the techniques we've discussed today can certainly help you become a faster and more efficient reader.
Absolutely.
Right.
And who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe with consistent practice,
Yeah.
you'll surprise yourself with how much you can accomplish in an hour.
Okay.
Remember, the most important thing is to find what works best for you
Yeah.
and make reading a regular and enjoyable part of your life.
Well said. This has been such an insightful conversation.
Yeah.
I feel like I've learned so much about how to approach reading in a more strategic and effective way.
Good. I'm glad.
What are some key takeaways you'd like listeners to remember?
I think the most important thing is to remember that speed reading isn't just about racing through a book as fast as possible.
Right.
It's about understanding and retaining information.
Oh, boy.
And that requires a combination of techniques
Yeah,
and a mindful approach to reading.
I completely agree.
Good.
It's about making reading a more active and engaging experience.
Exactly.
It's definitely about making it more engaging. And don't be afraid to experiment with different techniques
Right.
and find what works best for you.
Yeah.
There's no one-size-fits-all approach to speed reading.
Exactly. What works for one person might not work for another.
That's such a great point. It's all about finding what works best for you and making reading a part of your life that you genuinely enjoy.
I agree.
We've covered so much today, from the basics of speed reading to the importance of mindset, and even some fantastic resources to help you on your reading journey.
It's been quite the adventure.
It really has. And now I want to hear from you, our amazing listeners.
Yes.
What are your favorite reading tips and tricks? Do you have any techniques that we didn't mention that have helped you become a more efficient reader?
We're all ears.
Share your wisdom in the comments below.
Yes, please.
We love learning from our community.
Absolutely.
And if there's a book you'd love to see us explore in a future episode, let us know. We're always on the lookout for new reading challenges.
Definitely keep those suggestions coming.
And of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Number 7 podcast channel for more deep dives into fascinating topics.
We appreciate you listening.
We're so grateful for your support.
We truly appreciate each and every one of you.
Until next time, happy reading.
Happy reading, everyone.